Hey guys, Greg here on the Vinyl Rundown. Today I'm going to show you something like 10 or so records that I used in my latest listening test, and I'm doing a 30-day home trial of the Buchardt S400 speakers from Denmark, and I'm really near the end of the line here. Got to make a decision the next couple days. I spent all weekend listening to something like 20 records. Wanted to get a broad sense of how these speakers would sound with different types of records. So lots of different genres and types of music here, and different qualities of recording. What I'm using to power the speakers are a really nice sonograph amplifier by Conrad Johnson. That's like 125 watts per channel at 8 ohms. These are 4 ohm speakers, so who knows? 200 watts a channel? Maybe, I don't know. The front end is the Rega RP1 turntable. This is just my bedroom system. I got a better system in the other room. The RP1 with an upgraded glass platter and the Nagaoka MP110 cartridge. That's the yellow one. And the Shit Audio Maggie Phono preamp. And I'm not, well, that's the Phono preamp. I'm not really using a preamp. I'm using a volume control. So it's a passive preamp situation. The swapping in the sonograph amplifier sounds phenomenal compared to the old Outlaw audio receiver I was using. Anyway, you guys want to hear about records, I think. Let's get into, I had to do a nice cover shot. All these records that I listened to, probably 20 over the weekend, so I'm going to probably do 10 and 10 per video. Came home Friday night after work. I threw this on. It's not even the best Van Halen album. It just happened to be sitting there. Didn't sound that great. I was disappointed. The bass was really weak. Only listened to a song and a half and took it off. Didn't sound good. Is there a better pressing of this? Is this a bad pressing? I don't know what the deal is with that. Okay, you vinyl community people probably know this album, Big Star. #1 record, Big Star. The biggest group of the 70s that never made it big, but should have made it big, with Alex Chilton. This is one of their best albums. It's got some of their great tunes on it. The Ballad of El Gordo. That didn't sound that good. Vocals and everything sounded good, but the guitars sounded kind of brittle. Don't know why. Is this pressing not as good as the original? Nobody's got the original. Really hard to find. Really expensive. But then 13, which is an acoustic song. Acoustic guitars, voice sounded beautiful. Voice sounded great. Acoustic guitars sounded great. The speaker setup that I have, really good sound stage. Vocals sound very present in the middle of the speakers. They don't sound like they're coming out of the speakers. Vocals on this. And many of the records sounded like that. I'm going through these in the order that I listened to them. This is something I got for $1 at a thrift store recently, but it's a good recording. Good piano player. Beethoven's Piano Concerto No. 3. Sounded okay. Didn't blow my mind. Orchestral passages sounded good. Maybe sounded a little bit of congestion. Not sure what that was about. Inconclusive, let's say. This record sounded brilliant. This is one of those lesser known Blue Note artists, whose name I can barely pronounce. Gresham Moncourt III, trombone player. He did, I don't know, 2 or 3 albums with Blue Note as a leader. His compositions are very advanced, intricate, innovative. The first tune on here, Air Raid, sounded beautiful. All the instruments are placed where they belong in the sound field. Look at the players on this thing. Amazing group of players. Well, you can see it on the front better. Lee Morgan on trumpet. Is he Blue Note's greatest trumpeter? Well, got Freddie Hubbard also. Jackie McLean on alto. Bob Crenshaw on bass. Tony Williams on drums. This is an early Tony Williams. And Bobby Hutcherson on vibes. This whole thing feels like a Bobby Hutcherson album, really. The vibes are so ever present, and the vibes are very powerful. On good speakers, they really take up the whole sound field. So, I recommend this album. If you're a Blue Note fan, I hope you got a copy. This record none of you know, none of you have heard of, because I'm the only person in the vinyl community who ever talks about Nils Klein, the jazzy experimental guitar player, now with Wilco. But this album really surprised me. It sounded fantastic. And on my previous system, it just, it didn't come alive. But the first song on here, The Wedding Band. Hey, that's a double entendre. Which wedding band is it? The Wedding Band started with these amazing, very tribal drums, a lot of percussion. He uses a lot of looping sounds, digital delays, some synthesizers. His group, by the way, is called the Nils Klein Singers, which is meant to be ironic because it's usually all instrumental. What's the hype sticker say? Nils is among the most versatile and creative players out there, a deadly weapon, engrossing and ceasingly inventive. And his albums are sometimes got some arty artwork here. Look at all the cool pictures of legends back there. I see some Thelonious Monk and Ornette Coleman and who else? Charlie Parker way up there in the corner. Probably other people you guys recognize. Without the glare would be good. And this Nils is an underrated, unknown guy. This record is on his old label, Crypto Gramophone, which is a local LA, very artsy, avant-garde label. He's on Blue Note now, and actually I prefer his Crypto Gramophone stuff to Blue Note, so check out Nils Klein. That's too much time on Nils Klein. Then I switched to, oh my god, check this out. Two of the all-time greats. We got a white balance problem. Am I too red here? You don't care. Keith Jarrett, great piano player. Charlie Haden, The Last Dance. On ECM, it's a double record. ECM stuff, the new stuff is hard to find in the US and it's really expensive. This album was kind of inexpensive. Like, did they make too many copies? Or did it not sell well? I don't know, but you can probably get this for 20-ish. Most of the ECM stuff is 30-ish. And this is two records. If you're a Keith Jarrett fan, this is different sounding than most of his records because it's just piano and bass, no drums. So it's a quieter sounding record. I think it was recorded in the home studio of one of these guys. Last Dance. These guys have been playing together off and on for 30 years. It's their last dance. Charlie Haden died like a month after this was released. Was that 2014? Yeah. Very sad. Charlie Haden, one of the great jazz bass players of all time, known for the Ornette Coleman stuff. This album sounded good. Piano was very present. The Bucharts are very good with bass. They produce more bass than you'd expect from a small mini monitor. So bass was very present on this. This is a quieter album than you're going to be used to with Keith Jarrett. So check it out if you're into jazz that's a little bit on the quieter side. This is all old standard tunes. Around Midnight, Might As Well Be Spring, My Old Flame. Just chugging through the old standards like Keith Jarrett does all the time. Okay. Am I going to talk about this group more than once today? Wilco. I just mentioned Wilco with Nils Klein, but I really pulled this album out specifically to hear the vocal duet between Jeff Tweedy and Feist. You remember Feist? Is she feisty? No, that's her last name. The song on here, You and I, the vocal presence sounds absolutely fantastic on the Buchardt speakers. And one problem with these speakers with me is I don't listen to that much vocal music, so I'm kind of pulling out records that highlight vocals, and the vocal duet on here really sounds beautiful. Both artists sound like they're in the room with you. Large vocal soundstage. You guys have heard before, my wife is the world's biggest Wilco fan. We have everything they've done. Oh, check that out. Do you guys remember in the olden days they had something called concert tickets, and we stuck it in the album there. 2009 at the Wiltern Theater in Los Angeles. Crappy seats. They sell out in like 5 seconds when they go on sale. Every year it's the same thing with my wife. I waited for an hour. As soon as it went on sale, I got last row. What the hell's up? Okay. Check this out, guys. I wanted to change it up, different styles and genres of music. Can you dig it? Yeah, that's right. I got a copy of Shaft 2-disc set at the thrift store earlier this summer for 99 cents. Amazing. And then the remake of the movie came out like a week later, so now there's a lot of people talking about Shaft. The original with Richard Roundtree. Look at the idiots at the Goodwill. They make a point of ruining the cover by putting the stupid fucking sticker on the guy's face. I've already ruined a couple of records trying to remove those. Anyway, this record sounded great. It's a little bit scratched up. It's from 1974. It is scratched up, but you really can't hear the scratches. The violin swells that they used to do in the disco era, and the hi-hat and the drums and the vocals sound. This record sounded really good on these speakers. Shaft. Can you dig it? Oh, check it out. It's got all the other Isaac Hayes records on here. Hot Buttered Soul, which I have, and this jigsaw puzzly thing. I have those two from thrift shops. Black Moses, still don't have. That's one to get if you can find the original gatefold thing they did that was kind of unusual. Alright, I'm plowing through a bunch of records to hear different sounds. We're almost done. Linda Ronstadt, a documentary about her just came out in the last 2 weeks. It's playing in LA. I forgot what it's called, but Linda Ronstadt in very poor health now. But look how beautiful she was back when she was, what was she, 20? I don't know. This has some of her hits on it, You're No Good and When Will I Be Loved by the Everly Brothers. And the reason I wanted to hear this record, because When Will I Be Loved flows right into Willin' by Little Feat and Lowell George. There's no break on the album between those two. That's a great tune. I've heard that. I mean, there's a lot of people who've remade that song. This record was really scratched, so it was a tough listen. Probably a thrift store or something. I don't know. But what was I going to say about it? Something really important. The way the vocals are mixed, I would prefer the vocals be more up front. They're kind of in a very busy mix. That's just personal taste. Maybe that was the style in the early 70s, but for you youngsters out there, she was like the major vocalist of the 70s. And then, this is stuff I don't usually listen to, guys. I usually just sit and listen to jazz records all day, but I'm really mixing it up to see what these speakers sound like. Yeah, that's right. I'm not even a big Bruce fan, but I pulled this record out because I've been thinking about it, because that movie I told you about, Blinded by the Light, the story of the Pakistani immigrant in England whose life was miserable until he heard the music of Bruce Springsteen. Go see that movie, Blinded by the Light. There's an Oscar buzz. Maybe. Anyway, this album was also on the turntable a lot when I first started working at record stores in like 81, something like that. My boss in LA was at the record store. Hugest Bruce Springsteen fan. She was from New Jersey, and she died of an overdose while I was working with her. Robin, props to you, Robin. Gave me my first job at a record store. Very sad story. Anyway, what are we talking about? My two favorite Bruce songs are on here. What are they? The River and Point Blank. Point Blank sounded beautiful on these new speakers. The vocal presence, huge. Layering of lots of different instruments, well recorded, well produced record. And my least favorite song by Bruce is on here, also Cadillac Wrench. I'm into the slower songs, spacier songs. So another thrift store pickup. Okay, what's going on out there? And I spoke about this song a couple days ago. Elliott Smith, the great singer-songwriter who died tragically in Los Angeles a few years ago. This is one of his better records. What's it called? XO? Or how do you pronounce that? XO? 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 I don't know. I got this at Urban Outfitters. 24 bucks, marked down to $9.99. Urban Outfitters, the hipster place with all the Crosleys, the $60 Crosleys destroying all the $30 Beatle remasters. Yeah, okay, that place is helping college students get into vinyl, I guess. They usually don't have a selection of anything that I'm interested in as an old guy. Anyway, this record sounded beautiful, top to bottom. Side 1 is a great listen. Sweet Adeline and Independence Day and One of the Bottle Up and Explode. A lot of Elliott Smith's better songs are on here. My favorite Elliott Smith song I mentioned before is Independence Day, and the acoustic guitar stuff he does with the alternate tuning. I can't figure out how to play it on the guitar because of the alternate tuning, but it sounded great on here. That's a Greg's pick, a recommended album. And then to end off this listening session, was this Friday night? It started Friday night. I ended the night with some soft classical music. Bach. I don't even know this piano player very well. Jeffrey Cahan doing, what's he doing? Partitas and three-part inventions. Got this at Record Surplus in LA on their classical sale about a month ago. Record sounded very nice. This is on the Nonesuch label. We've talked a lot about the Nonesuch label lately. This is kind of their middle incarnation. They don't, their logo and everything's different now. They were doing more classical back then. What is this, from the 90s? 1986, Ancient History. Record sounded very good. So, long video. Sorry about the length, but that's what I listened to Friday. I guess that's just Friday night. And I did not listen to the whole albums all the way through. Sometimes it only took me one or two songs to get the gist of this sounds terrible sometimes. Really trying to get through as many different sound styles, if you will, recording styles on these speakers to really run them through the paces of a lot of different types of music. Vocal, instrumental, jazz, classical, rock, etc. You gotta love the speakers on the type of music you listen to, but you also gotta love them on all the types of music that are out there. So there's another video to follow after this, guys, because I got what I listened to Saturday and Sunday. Probably 25-30 records. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Sorry for the length of the video, but happy vinyl. Talk to you later.